Hey everybody, this is All Things Cheryl here to do a review and a recap of season 3, episode 8 and 9. We see in episode 8 and 9, Zara has basically on her way out to meet Isaiah. Lady May is basically trying to convince her basically not to go. In the meantime, we see that uh, Carissa and Jacob has basically come to the mansion to basically take Zara home. And this is where we see Isaiah. Isaiah comes up, the gate is open, Zara runs out to the car, Isaiah pops open the back of the trunk, Zara puts her suitcase in, gets in the car, Isaiah comes out with a video camera and getting ready to take and whisk Zara away. In the meantime, in the meantime, Jacob is actually trying to deal with two things. Two things. The daughter has basically turned 18 and has ran away the second time with Isaiah. He has basically gotten involved or somewhat gotten involved with Tasha. Tasha is basically blowing his phone up, texting him all over the place. He really can't really answer Tasha because he's basically dealing with Zara. In the meantime, we see that Charities basically has drove up to see what was going on exactly with Zara. I'm saying to myself, well, what are you going to do, Charity? There's nothing you can do. This young lady has turned 18, and apparently she feels that she can handle whatever is about to occur with her and Isaiah. My issue with Zara is that Zara is basically still a child in my mind. Uh, she's in love. At least she thinks she's in love, and at least she thinks Isaiah loves her. But every time he puts his hands on her, he apologizes, and she, basically takes the bait. And so we see that Carissa, Carissa is really, really having a real hard time with the fact that Zara has turned 18, and she all the while through the various episodes she was trying to talk to Jacob and try to tell Jacob to basically loosen up and don't be so strict. It's because loosen up and don't be so strict that they were going to lose Zara, and sure enough that is basically what happened. Now, I also think that Lady May had something to do, well, a lot to do with the fact that Zara basically made up her mind that she was going to just go ahead and go, due to the fact when Zara turned 18 and Carissa had tickets for her and Zara to go to Hamilton, Lady May tried to kick in with the discipline, saying that, well, I'm sorry that I don't think that Zara can go to a play, which was basically a birthday present. Now, is Lady May basically responsible for Zara doing that second runaway with Isaiah? In my mind, yes. I really do think so. In my mind, you have to really look at today's teenagers as far as them thinking that they know everything. They basically don't know everything. I think that if Lady May had basically let Carissa basically take Zara to this play, I don't think, maybe so, maybe not. I don't think that Zara would have basically ran away with Isaiah. But due to the fact that Lady May wanted to discipline Zara the way that she disciplined, I believe, her youngest, no, her second to the youngest daughter, Faith, that this would occur. Now we also see that Carissa was basically trying to um, give Zara a phone, so just in case that something would happen or should go wrong, that she would be able to basically communicate and let her know, you know, uh, that she would come and get. Now, whenever you are dealing with an abusive relationship, one of the basic things that people, women and men who are abusive, what they do is that they isolate. They isolate you from being able to connect, separate you, keep you away from those who will be basically close to you. In other words, you become a victim, and you there's no way. How do I want to say this? Because I know that sometimes I get off focus. This is the way that victims, especially those who are victim of domestic violence or domestic violence, they isolate you from your loved ones. So, due to the fact that Zara has made this decision, now I love the fact that Carissa basically tried to convince Zara to basically come home, but Zara thinks that she can basically handle this relationship, this abusive relationship that she has gotten herself in. While we have Zara, Carissa, Lady May, and Charity dealing with Isaiah, we have the bishop. The bishop basically had no idea what was really, basically going on due to the fact that Zara had basically ran away with Isaiah again. And so the bishop, you know, basically came to the mansion, found out that he can no longer get into the mansion because Lady May has basically changed the code on him. So he basically goes in and he talks to Lady May and asks Lady May, why didn't you really basically, let me know what was going on with Zara. And basically Lady May says, look, um there's nothing that there's nothing that you can do. You really have no authority. You're actually, even though when him and Joseph when him and Jacob basically had a meeting, when the bishop came to the office at Triumph and to ask Jacob what was basically going on. This is when he interrupted Tasha. And of course, we know that Tasha's been basically blowing up Jacob's phone with text messages. And so this is when we go on and we find out that Tasha has basically fell in love with Jacob. And Jacob basically again has crossed the line. Now we don't know in episode 7 if indeed that they did anything, but the way Jacob treated that particular subject, he went in, he took a shower, he he washed his body down, so his wife really couldn't smell any any perfume or anything on his shirt. So uh, he was basically, in my mind, he was really guilty. And so when the bishop came in and he saw that Tasha and Jacob was basically having a conversation, and the conversation was basically about Tasha. And so Jacob tells Tasha that they can't really do this, that it's wrong, and that she has to stop. And then this is when then I repeated myself. We find out that you know Tasha has really fell in love, so she's packing up, she's getting ready to leave, and then Jacob tells her that he doesn't want her to leave. But I'm like, Jacob, you're married, like she said, you're married, and she's somewhat married because she doesn't even know what basic is, but she's still married. And so basically, she leaves. And so we go on and we see that in episode 8, we see that Rochelle has basically made a way, well, where Ms.hurter, who is the woman who basically killed her husband while he was asleep with an axe, has made a way through Child Protective Services where she could basically see her children. In the meantime, we also see that Grace is still having some second doubts about basically Rochelle. It's because she noticed that Rochelle has all of these connections. And so she asks Rochelle, well, how do you get that connection? And then Rochelle, we find out that Rochelle used to be a big sister. And this is when Rochelle tells Grace that she has about four sisters out there who are out in the world running things. So whenever she needs something, whenever she needs a favor, she goes on and she asks, for the favor. And so we go on and we also find out that uh, what is it? So basically, everything was centered around in episode 8. Everything was really centered around Zara running off, uh, Tasha falling in love with Jacob. Jacob's telling her, "You can't do it. We can't get involved." uh, Charity basically comes up out of her slump, finds out that a she has somewhat of a knack in the grieving process when it comes to people losing and consoling. And we also finds out that the bishop is basically living with Percy in episode 8. In episode 9, which is basically called The Runaway Train, the Runaway Train is basically dealing with, I believe, with the bishop and everything that is going on in his life at this particular time when it comes to him investing in cryptocurrency, him basically somewhat involved with Rochelle, but not involved with Rochelle, giving Rochelle basically money to invest in this cryptocurrency, invest in the Bitcoin, him basically taking money out of a joint account where him and Lady May basically had, and even he went to Lady May to basically ask, if it would be all right to invest the money, and she basically tells the bishop, no, you cannot invest my money. Then we find out that the bishop went on and invest Lady May and their money anyway. So then we also find out that with this runaway train, We also find out that divorce papers have also been served. They have been served, they have been given, and he has to decide whether or not, if he wants to um, basically do this divorce. So we see in episode 9, The Runaway Train, he has the paper. He's carrying the papers with him just about all day, all evening, and he goes to um he goes to his son Jacob, and he goes and he has a conversation with him. He tells him about the paper, and then, but prior, before we get into the paper and the divorce, um, the bishop basically talks to him about Tasha. He asks him, he says, well, what's going on with you and Tasha? So basically, the bishop knows that there's something that's going on, but he can't really put his hands on it. And so, of course, Jacob tells him that there's nothing going on, and that he's not of that life. In actuality, he is of that life, because he did not want Tasha to basically leave. He was being selfish, and he knew that he was being selfish. But I feel that him and Tasha is going to get back together is because Carissa is not really communicating with him at all, because she feels that Jacob is one of the reasons why, Zara is no longer with him. Now, the focus in episode 9 was basically on uh, the bishop, not so much on Zara, not so, the fact that she's run away with an young adult man who is, or who has is an abuser. And so we go on and we find that Percy has basically been able to pull Charity up out of her slump. But then we also see in episode 9 that we see that Kevin, Aaron, is at the house with visiting with baby Nathan, and we see that Charity is basically there watching them with the interaction with baby Nathan. We go on, and then we see that the bishop comes in, and the bishop sees that Nathan, baby Nathan, Kevin, and Aaron are together. But Charity is just like going along, because she's not really for it. So this is when we go on and we find out a couple of things that's going on with Aaron and Kevin. Come to find out that Aaron and Kevin is basically getting ready to look for a house, buy a house together, and they're thinking about tying the knot. They're going to tie the knot. Now, I think personally this is a little bit too fast. I think that Kevin and Aaron should have at least basically kind of slow it down. I think it's still a little bit too much for Charity to deal with, due to the fact that she was on tour, and she chased at a man who at one time wanted to be with her, but she was so much into uh Kevin, and that basically she stopped touring. And so then we go on and we see that Charity has a conversation with her father, and she basically talks about the fact that Aaron and Kevin is getting ready to get married, and she's wondering when her chance is basically going to go, and when her chance is going to come. And this is when the bishop basically takes the opportunity and to tell Charity that basically you need to basically really focus on you, and not so much of focusing on what is going on with Aaron and what's going on with Kevin. She was saying, when am I guess, and basically, when am I going to find love? Um, and she fell in love with um Kevin, but here's the thing: she knew that there was something about Kevin, and she knew that. So it's not like she didn't have her women intuition, knowing that she fell in love with him. And so we go on, and we see that basically the bishop comes in, and he sees Aaron, and then Aaron tells the bishop that his father has pancreatic cancer, and maybe you should go and basically see him. And so basically, the bishop says, okay. And so this is when we go on and we see that the bishop basically went go to a hospice, because it looks like that his father, Aaron's father, is in hospice care. So we don't know exactly how, if he's going to come out of it, because apparently he must be doing chemo or something. And so we see the bishop has his conversation with Aaron's father, and he basically, talks about with Aaron's father, due to the fact that, he trusted him, and that he had a relationship with Lady May. And of course, when you're dealing with, people who are dealing with issues and challenges, especially with their health, everything is basically put out on the table. And so we go on after the bishop uh, finished dealing with um, Aaron's father. We see that Grace has basically gotten back from dealing with Ms.Hurter, and we also see that Grace has a conversation with her daughter, and we find out that Sophia does not want to go she doesn't want to go to college. She doesn't want to go to Christian college. This is when she let her mother knows about that, and she doesn't don't want to go to school. But Grace says, "Yeah, you going? You're not like Zara. I mean, not like Zara. So you are definitely going to go to college." So this is when Sophia takes the opportunity to let her mother know that soon she will be 18. So we don't know where that is going to go. I don't know if this what is 12 episode or 13 episode, but we don't know. And so this is when we also find out that the bishop has his bishop what is his silver jubilee, and when he went to basically talk to Jacob about the fact that he got the divorce papers. So Jacob told him and said, "Well, if you don't want to sign the divorce papers, Pop, then don't sign them. Don't sign them." You know. So he basically thought about it, and so we see that's why I said the runaway train. We see that the bishop takes the opportunity to basically talk to Sophia about a scenario of the runaway train. It was such a long parody, a long one, but I think personally the runaway train is basically dealing with life, that it can get out of control. And so we also see that the bishop comes into his office and find that after he had this conversation with Sophia, we see that the bishop comes into the office, and we see that the Bible that basically he gave to Sophia, Sophia gave the Bible back now. In the meantime, we also see that the bishop goes to Lady May, and the bishop basically signs the divorce papers. And the bishop asks take the paper to Lady May and gives the paper to Lady May. And so Lady May basically asked him, well, why did you sign the divorce papers? And he says, well, the reason why I signed the divorce paper is because I don't think that I was a part of the family or something. I mean, I'm not quite. I mean, he just signed the divorce paper. Let me just say, he just signed the divorce papers, and he left out the office. Now, this is when Lady May basically signed the divorce papers also in front of him, and so the bishop takes the divorce papers and he takes it to Corinne, the secretary, and when he goes into the office, this is when he finds the Bible. And we are into episode 10. Now, I might have missed some things. I'm pretty sure I did. But basically, this episode was very, very good. This episode did not deal with Jacob and did not deal with Zara and did not deal with Zara. But I did mention a part where is that the bishop did have a conversation with Rochell, which I thought was very, very good, because this is where Rochell gets him. He goes in and he asks Rochell, why do you want to be bothered with me? What is it about me? You can have the pick of the lid of all of these young stud, as he said. And he tells her, my body is not the way that it used to be, and it never will. He also tells her that I have like Parkinson's disease. So he went on and tells that everything that's going on with his body, he's all broken down. If you're trying to do it, it ain't going to work the way it used to when it used to be young. And so this is when Rochell, I don't know what is this young lady's name who's playing this thing. But anyway, let me just tell you that Rochell said, okay, so you still don't believe, that I'm basically here for you, all that I have done for you. And so we see a scene where is that she tells the bishop to take his phone out and look at his phone. Basically, she put an app on his phone that deals with the stock market and it deals with the electronic in terms of this cryptocurrency and this Bitcoin. So apparently the money that the bishop has invested is tripling or doubling. And this is when Rochell, really put it to him, and she says, well, he tells Rochelle that he will never estimate her again. Now, Rochelle basically told the bishop exactly how she felt about him and his family. She called him and his family a bunch of, what did she say? A bunch of snakes. And here it is that she tells him how she feels about him. It went over his head. Totally went over his head. Totally. Totally. So I just wanted to put that in. So, this was very, very good. I know I missed 2 episodes, but I went to, like, subscribe, and share. Share the video, like the video, become a subscriber, hit the notification. I went to Charlotte, North Carolina to my church convocation, and then I went to Washington, D.C., basically where I was raised. Not born, but raised. I went there to basically celebrate my birthday. So, I am now officially an adult. Just turned 65, and I thank my Heavenly Father that I am able to see another birthday. Until the next time, until Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, I will be coming back with the review and recap. And we only have maybe 2 or 3 episodes that is left. I will tell you this. Um, season 3 has been and is getting ready to blow up. The reason why I'm saying that is because Basie Skanks. We will see Basie Skanks next week. Till the next time, this is All Things Cheryl. Peace and love.